a ball peen hammer. Anything you gotta say?
To all my friends and family.
Hey, short one leveled up.
On the subject of complicated wires, what the heck is this?
Red colored wire. What do you want to know about it?
Bro, I don't even know right now. What am I looking at?
Try to plunge. I'm still gonna do it.
Why did that happen?
Excuse me?
Just met, barely, just you, just me. Basically strangers falling.
Die.
Downtown, chilling, heartbeat spilling. Don't wanna trip and fall in love. Is it bad that you seem too good? See the end way before I should. I know we just started, but if you're listening to my heart, you might find out the weirdest part. I am already missing you from the start. I'm already missing you. I'm already missing you. Don't fall quickly, loving easy. Lessons in love I never learned. But this feeling's different. You're a brand new face, but my oldest friend. Hold on tight until it burns. Is it bad that you seem too good? See the end way before I should. I know we just started, but if you're listening to my heart, you might find out the weirdest part. I am already missing you from the start. I'm already missing you. I'm already missing you. Put your ear to my chest, put your ear to my chest. Come on, won't you hear the rest? Put your ear to my chest, put your ear to my chest. I'm already missing you. Put your ear to my chest, put your ear to my chest. Come on, won't you hear the rest? Put your ear to my chest, put your ear to my chest. I'm already missing you.
Hello. What is up, dudes and dudettes? Long time no see. How's everyone doing? Appreciate everyone being here. Hello. I am on my chibi model today because I have some kind of semi-bad news, and I'm sure it'll be remediated at some point. But I have seemed to have misplaced my files for my normal VTuber model. So what that means is, well, I missed my files and I can't use my normal VTuber model until I find those. So I'm looking. They'll be around here somewhere. I will find them. But until then, we're going to be using the chibi model. All right, so what brings me on? What are we doing today? Well, what we're doing today is, well, we're actually going to be playing some Final Fantasy XIV. For a while now, I've been trying to get one of the hardest titles in the game, that title being the Necromancer title in Final Fantasy XIV. So what that entails is you have to climb a deep dungeon solo from floor 1 to 200 without dying. There are some nice little stipulations, but for the most part, that's basically it. 1 to 200, it takes a while. This will be a multi-stream video, but let me go ahead and switch over to that. So I am currently on Final Fantasy XIV, as you can see here. A couple of things to note when climbing Palace of the Dead is what we're going to be doing today, is that there are 200 floors in Palace of the Dead. The other deep dungeons only have 100 floors, which is nice. What you can go in with any armor, any weapon, it doesn't matter. What matters is your Aether pool. So my Aether pool is 99.99. I unfortunately have just previously died to this and said, you know what, if I'm going to reclimb it, I want to reclimb it on stream. So that's what we're going to do. I am going to drop my Aether pool armor down from 99.99 to probably 69.69 and start climbing there. I will get up to 99.99 again not too long after, but essentially that's what's going to happen. This is my 5th climb. I have not beaten it. The highest I've gotten was floor 180, which is a boss, which is known as one of the hardest bosses in the game. And I got timed out the second time, so I just didn't make it to the boss in time. So let me prepare real quick. So I'm going to forge a couple Aether pools, Aether pool grips. So that should be 89.89. This one's going to put me at 79. And this will put me at 69. Prisvale, what is going on? Welcome back to the stream. How are you? Putz up? What does putz up mean? Oh, look at you. Thank you for staying a member, Prisvale. Much love. All right, I'll try to... That is crazy. Anxiety, welcome back to the stream. Hopefully you have a good stream. It has been a while. I appreciate the lurk. Let's hop right in. I'm going to go in solo, fixed party. We're 69.69 on our arms. What that means is I'm not going to pick up any silver chests because I will get them back eventually. But this will be a multi-stream thing. So floor 1, I start off at level 1. And basically these early floors, you kind of just want to go in and kill everything. Basically to level up. Getting an impeding trap. So there are traps on the floor, and we'll talk about them as we go. So an impeding trap, it silences me, and it also pacifies me. So I'm not able to use any skills essentially for like 20 seconds. Doesn't really hurt me much as a tank. Why are you not clicking on this mouse? Thank you. I'm just going to auto these guys down. Now that I can use abilities, I'll just run around. So yeah, early floors, I'm just going to go through. I'm just going to kill pretty much everything. Nothing's really scary here, especially as a tank. Every single floor has traps on it. Now, not every single room has a trap. The ones that don't have a trap, your starting room does not have a trap. Hallways do not have traps, so that's nice. Huts up is your very own VTuber greeting. I see. I have learned the ways of your VTuber greeting. So, Palace of the Dead has 200 floors. It is broken up into 10 floors per set. You have the lower floors, which people consider to be 150 and below. And then the higher floors will be 51 and higher. The lower floors are most noticeably easier, whereas the higher floors are harder. Every 10 floors, so being floor 10, floor 20, floor 30, etc., will have a floor boss on it. And every floor boss has its own mechanic. Warrior is my main. There have been clears with every single job in Final Fantasy. People say the most notable, easiest job to clear Palace of the Dead is Machinist. Which that was how I was learning. So this is my 5th attempt climbing. My first 3 I tried with Machinist. The very highest floor the first time I got to was floor 142. The first time. I died because I hit what's called a luring trap, which summons 3 enemies that are automatically aggroed to you. And instead of like what I should have done, I decided to rage. And in that process of raging, I just got smacked and I died. And it sucks. So the second time I climbed with the Machinist, I made it all the way to floor 180. And I died on the floor 180 boss. I didn't do enough damage quick enough. Which again, the floor 180 boss is known as the hardest boss in Palace of the Dead. And I died. So yeah. And then the third time I climbed it was again on Machinist. I made it to floor 140. Messed up on that boss. And ended up dying on that boss. The 4th time is what I just recently died on. It was yesterday. I got back up to floor 180. I messed up on floor 171. And instead of... Well, I tried to do a strat where I round up a bunch of enemies and then hit a landmine. And then... kill them that way, because the landmine does I think 80% of your health, and it obviously does 80% of my health too, and that's what happened. And I couldn't get my health back enough quick enough, and the enemies ended up killing me. I raised, which is a way I'll talk about later. However, I tried it again and I died again, and doing it twice ended up eating so much of my time, because you only have 1 hour to clear 10 floors, which in these lower floors it's really quick, but in the higher floors every single enemy takes so long to kill with Warrior that I was already 15 minutes into my run just then clearing floor 171. So that I got to the boss. I'm going to steal here. I'll talk about Pomenters in a second. So I got to the boss, got the boss down to 60% HP, and then ran out of time. So running out of time obviously fails, and if you fail, then you have to restart. And I truly believe I would have been able to beat the boss that time if I had more time. All right, so now that I have my oh my god. Now that I have my AoE. Okay, I got a fortune. Another safety. Now that I have my AoE, I'm going to probably start pulling multiple enemies. Kind of do these lower floors a little bit quicker. I wish I had like I wish I had my full kit. So in Palace of the Dead, you can only get up to level 60. In other dungeons, other deep dungeons, what they're called, you can go higher. But in Palace of the Dead specifically, you can only get to level 60. And that's basically the goal. Once you get to level 60, all the other enemies are also level 60. But they still increase in like how much damage they do and how much health they have and stuff. So like every floor is just continuously getting harder and harder. So normally at level 60, after I get enough kills, I would go into the passage and go up to the next floor. But because of these lower floors and you're still leveling, you want to kind of... Oh my god, I hit a landmine. You want to kind of kill everything on the floor to keep leveling up, because you don't want to be under level for the boss. It's not too much of a big deal for me as a tank, but if you're playing as a DPS, then you want to be on par or even higher level than the boss. And I believe the first boss is level, I want to say 21. If I remember right. Keep getting these steals. So items in this game mode in a deep dungeon are called pomanders. And what the pomanders are, it depends on what the pomander is. So for example, the pomander of strength increases the damage you deal along with the HP you receive from HP items, from healing items. Pomanders of steel decreases the damage you take, and I want to say it's like 40%. All right, now that I have my tomahawk, I can start pulling even more, because I can do things like this. Yeah. Things like this. Things like this. Pull them into the hallway, because there's no traps in the hallways, right? And just burst them down. So, it is safer, not safe, safer to run along the walls, because the traps like to spawn more so in the middle of the room. Like if you just run in straight into the middle of the room, you'll probably hit a trap. So like if I'm like just running here, you see I just hit an impeding trap, which isn't so bad, right? Then I'm out of this floor. Excuse me. So, let's talk a little bit more about Pomanders. So I'll kind of go down the list of the Pomanders that I currently have as we go through. The first one we have is a Pomander of Safety. Pomander, you're only able to carry 3 Pomanders at a time per Pomander. And the first Pomander on the list is a Pomander of Safety. And what a Pomander of Safety does is it completely wipes that entire floor you're on. So like we're on floor 7, you can see on my map in the top right. It completely wipes the floor of all traps. So if I were to use it now, which I don't want to because I'm on the lower floors, I'm not too worried about traps. I'll use it if I get another one. I can then run in the middle of the room, not worried about hitting a trap or anything like that because all the traps are gone. The next one we have is called a Pomander Strength, which when used increases damage dealt and HP recovery via healing by 30%. Which is great, right? Because it's a lot of damage, and especially as a tank, I want to be able to do as much damage as I can, because the quicker I kill enemies, the quicker I'm off that floor. The next Pomander we have is the Pomander of Steel, which decreases damage received by 40%. And again, I can get off this floor, but I want to kill everything I can to gain experience. So Pomanders of Steel are really recommended to use during like boss fights when the enemies are smacking hard, or on the later floors where enemies are really hitting you. Me as a tank, there's an enemy on the later floors that hits you and will take half your HP, and I'm a tank, right? Crazy. The next Pomander I have currently, and I'll talk about them as I pick them up going forward, is I have a Pomander of Flight. And what that does is it decreases the number of enemies on the next floor. So like we're on floor 7. If I were to use this now, the next floor we're going to right now is floor 8. And say that there are, let's say there's 10 enemies on this floor right now. If I were to flight this floor, there'd only be 5 enemies on this floor. So I use the Pomander of Safety because I picked one up. I'm only able to carry 3, right? So what I'm going to do is Safety, so I can get rid of all the traps on this floor and still pick up that Safety. So now I can run around in the middle of this room and not worried about getting hit by traps because I used the Safety. Now I'm just worried about the enemies. But so what flights do is they reduce the enemies by it's half is what I've learned. But it also reduces the amount of enemies you have to kill to gain access to the passageway to go to the next floor. So in order to gain access to go to the next floor, you have to kill a certain amount of enemies, and it's random how many enemies you have to kill. Every floor has a certain like range. Whoops. So like we're on floor 8, right? It could be a range of 4 to 8 enemies is required to gain access to the passageway, which I now have access to the passageway, right? So I'm gonna pull all these guys. The next Pomander we have, we just picked one up on this floor. It's a Pomander of Affluence. And what that does is it increases the treasure coffers on the next floor. So a lot of rooms have one treasure coffer in it. If I were to use that affluence, the rooms would then have 2 treasure coffers. And then also has a greater chance to spawn what we call a treasure room, which I'll talk about it once we find one. The next Pomander we have to talk about that I have currently is a Pomander of Fortune. Pomander of Fortune, every enemy you kill has a greater chance to drop a gold chest. And I guess that kind of leads me into the segue of let's talk about the chests. There are 3 different kinds of chests that you find in Palace of the Dead. You have bronze chests, silver chests, and gold chests. And what they do is bronze chests have a chance to spawn on the, let's just talk about all the floors, right? They have a chance to spawn like Phoenix Downs or potions. So like depending on what floor set you are, and you can get like a hyper potion or a super potion or something like that. Or they give you Gelmorange potsherds. And what those do is you can exchange those outside the dungeon for sustaining potions. And sustaining potions can only be used inside of Palace of the Dead. And what they do is they increase your healing. So I just popped it for 30 seconds and regeneration HP over time. Which is, and it's a lot, to be honest with you. So since we have a silver chest right here, I'll talk about silver chests. Silver chests will have 2 things on them. One, they could increase your Aether Pool arm or armor. So right now we're at plus 69 for those. It could increase to plus 70 to 70, etc. Right? Or I can open this and it can do a bomb. So it's a gamble, right? So let's see what we get. Okay. Nothing happens. It remains unchanged. So basically what that means is my Aether Pool is just too high, so it's not going to upgrade it. It's 69. We're on floor 9, right? It's just going to be like, yeah, we don't need to give you 70. So I guess there's 3 things it could do. There's 4 things it can do. I'm sorry. Gold, and I'll explain what the 4th one is in a second. Gold chests have Pomanders in them. So that's why you don't see me kind of picking up bronze chests or silver chests, because I don't necessarily need either of those. But I do need these gold chests because they have Pomanders in them, and Pomanders are what is going to get you through these floors. I guess technically speaking, you can beat these Pomanderless. I'm no shot I'm going to be able to do that, and I'm not going to do that. The next thing... Oh, man, I use a safety. Crap. Oh, well. This floor is safe now. So, that's what they normally have in them. Now, everyone knows the biggest thing with, like, RPGs are mimics. Well, mimics are in the deep dungeon, and they smack. So, you can open up on the lower floors a bronze chest or a silver chest, and they have a chance to spawn a mimic instead of a chest. So you might open it up and then have to fight an enemy. On the higher floors, you can only get them from gold chests. So the chest that you have to open... Oh, we're on the boss. So the chest you have to open, unfortunately, is going to spawn a mimic on the higher floors. So, all right, so this boss, Palace Deathgaze, this is the very first boss you fight. He's not scary. He's very easy. If you're on Warrior, all you're going to do is just attack him. I could lust, and I'll explain. Actually, I'll lust to kind of explain it. But I'll lust. I'll do my tactic with it, and I'll explain what I'm doing as I lust. And then all I'm doing is just attacking him. All this boss is going to do is just a raid-wide AoE that hurts you and increases it. It's like a wind burn. It poisons you, and that's all it's going to do. So I have steel up. I'm not worried about taking much damage here. I'm going to pop a sustaining potion, pop my lust, which turns me into a succubus, and then I'm going to attack with the succubus's attack 5 times, which adds a vulnerability up on the boss, and it can only stack to 5. And then all I'm going to do is just do my rotation damage. Stay out of the AoEs. Just do damage. You can see how much I'm smacking them. As a warrior, no shot you die on this guy. And that's all it does. Congratulations, you beat the first 10 floors of Palace of the Dead. Super easy. You exit just like you do any other duty, and you now have an option. You can either exit back out to the world, or you go back to the entry point and you go to the next 10 floors. And, well, that's what we're going to do. We're going to go to the next 10 floors. So every 10 floors, you can take a break. You can go out, you can go do your other stuff that you want to do within the dungeon or within the world and stuff like that, and your progress saves. And you can continue that progress towards getting the Necromancer title, you know, floor 1 to 200 without dying, and you do it solo. You don't have to do it in one sitting. You can do it in multiple sittings. And every 10 floors, you get that break. But we're just going to proceed to the next 10 floors, which are floor 11 through 20. You now have actual cave floors instead of like a dungeon style floor. So I'm going to open this. Aether Pool remains unchanged. Palace toads on this floor aren't bad. They'll grab you with their tongue to kind of pull you in. 100 floors later, you'll run into them again, and they'll there's a certain method you want to do to survive them. But on the lower floors, on floor 11, you're not going to do anything. They're going to pull you in, and they're going to do a jump attack, and that's it. I'll actually kind of hold off. You see how he pulled me in to do a jump attack? That's it. Nothing big about him. These guys aren't scary. They're not going to do anything. They don't have mechanics that you have to worry about. So this bronze chest, it's either going to have a mimic, it's going to have Gilmore Potsherd, or it's going to have a Phoenix down. I'm betting it's a Phoenix down. Phoenix down. As a DPS going through this dungeon, you don't necessarily want to start pulling a bunch of monsters. You kind of want to kite and kill like one or two, like one monster at a time. As a tank, just on the lower floors like this, just pull. Just pull what you can handle. I'm still being kind of cautious in the sense of, well, there's still traps around. I'm not too worried if I hit a luring trap, which I can talk about each trap as we go along. If I hit any, so we already know what an impeding trap does. But if we get a luring trap, that's a little scary, especially for newer people to deep dungeons. What luring trap does, it spawns 3 additional enemies that all are automatically aggroed to you, which playing as a DPS is scary, because 3 enemies on you as a DPS, you have to kind of be prepared for it and know how to deal with it. As a tank, it's your job to take damage, so as a tank you know like how to handle 3 enemies. On the later floors, it's still kind of scary to hit a lowering trap because all the enemies really hit you hard. So hitting a lowering trap still hurts and kind of scary. And so we're coasting through the lower floors. Once we get to the later floors, it's going to take a little bit longer to get through each 10 floors. So this first stream, we'll get through a good amount of floors, like floor sets. I'm pretty sure this first stream we can probably get to floor. I'm guessing before I have to call it quits for tonight, will probably be maybe 60, maybe 70. Defeat the floor 70 boss. Maybe, right? For the later floors, we'll probably only be able to get through like 2 sets of floors. It's kind of a bigger floor set. Again, I want to kill everything on the floor set because I'm not max level yet. I want to get as high as I can before we fight the next boss. Because even as a tank, the bosses can still really mess with you. And then every boss, again, has a specific mechanic that you have to know and kind of know how to deal with it. And as we go along, I will explain the strategy I've been using to get through those bosses. And I'll explain, like, look, I am new to deep dungeons. I haven't been doing them a while. I have yet to clear Palace of the Dead. I don't have the title. It's just my 5th climb. I'm familiar with the bosses 180 and below. And I will let you know what is easiest for somebody who isn't a pro at Palace of the Dead. I will let you know. I will let you know what is easy. So we're out. We got enough enemies. Boop. Easy day, easy day. So again, I don't need to open these. I just kind of want to keep showing you. Eventually, I'm going to hit a bomb. Damn it. One of these days, I'll hit a bomb. But I definitely don't need to keep hitting those. And the reason for that is because in the later floors, the bosses, after you kill them, automatically give you +10 on both of those. So by the time you get to the higher floors where you need to have 99 armor set and arm, you're already there. You already have it because of starting. So let me backtrack a little bit here. So your Aether Pool arm and armor, when you first start deep dungeoning, when you first come into Palace of the Dead, your arm and armor is going to be 1. Or maybe even 0. I can't really remember. It's going to be either 0 or 1. And That's not a bad thing. You just want to be going for silver chests to get your rank up as you go along. You want to get more and more. And what that does is the higher those are, the higher your arm is, the more damage you're going to do. The higher your armor is, the more damage you're going to be able to sustain. But starting out, you're going to be extremely low, so you want to open up those silver chests to get higher and higher. You retain that Aether Pool arm and Aether Pool armor even after you die. So when you die and you have to restart, you retain where you're at. So if you get to floor like 14 and I have, let's say, 9 arm and armor, and I die on this floor and I restart back on floor 1, I'm still going to have 9 arm and armor. So I'll be able to clear those lower floors again quicker this time. I got hit by that. So when somebody comes into Palace of the Dead and they have 99.99, it just means that they've done the content enough to be able to get their arm and armor higher. And then what you can do is you can trade 10 for 10 arm and armor for an Aether Pool grip, which is what I did at the beginning of the stream, to lower it, because you can actually trade those Aether Pool grips. If you have 9 of them, you can get this special weapon. Ooh, cobras. Okay. Let me pause here real quick and talk about cobras, because they do deserve a little respect. So cobras will do the stone gaze, which will stun you if you get hit. Look away from them. Easy day, right? The reason I bring up cobras is because there's a special mechanic in these dungeons. Traps. I talked about a luring trap. There's another trap called a toad trap, which, if you get hit by a toad trap, you get transformed into a toad, and you're not able to attack or heal or do anything. If you get hit by a toad trap and get aggro of a palace cobra, it will do a special move called Devour. And basically, the cobra eats you and you die one shot. Nothing you can do about it. Ooh, okay. So, if you get a toad trap, just stay in a hallway, stay away from cobras. If you're attacking a cobra, attack the cobra in the hallway so you don't hit a toad trap within the room. Just take my word for it. Just don't do it. Now, what we have here is what's called a treasure room. Basically, there are 4 treasure coffers on each corner of the room, but it has a lot of enemies in it. On the earlier floors, this is awesome because this is just experience for me. I get 4 coffers and I get experience. Kill them. Takes a little bit of time. I can theoretically go in here and pull all these enemies, but I don't want to because of these slimes. These slimes are actually kind of dangerous. If you leave them alive for too long, they will enrage and they'll kill you. So you kind of want to wipe them out first. But now that I got the slimes cleared, I'm going to pull everything else and just AoE them down. Look, I stunned him. Like, for these lower floors, I'm kind of talking my way through, like, what's going on and stuff. My intent is to fully clear this dungeon on stream. Get to 200 solo. Nice respawn. Get to 200 solo. And get the Necromancer title. That's my ultimate goal. So for these lower floors, I'll talk my way through a lot of things. But I think when we get to, like, I don't know, maybe like 160, yeah, probably like 160-ish, maybe 150, 160-ish, I probably won't be describing every single enemy and what they... Ooh, a toad. Okay, so this is what I'm talking about, right? Hit a toad trap. There's only one trap per room. So I hit a toad trap in this donut style room, right? There's a hole in the floor. I can kind of go around in a circle. That's all I'm going to do is I'm just going to kite this slime around in a circle. And then kill it quickly as possible because remember slimes... Slimes do that. So, great start. I should have witching. All right, so we got to restart, guys. So that sucks. Whoa, cool mech. Oh, all right. So to be honest, that's the first time that's actually happened to me. Which is hilarious. So I guess with that, I need to edit my description. What floor was that? That was floor 12, 13? Let's just edit my description real quick. I want to say it was floor 12. That is honestly unfortunate. And I'm actually very sad about that. All right. I'll get that out of the way. I'll get it out of the way. It is what it is. I'm hurt. I am hurt inside. Another impeding trap. Look, I'm honestly very sad about that. This was just supposed to be a straight shot, at least to the higher floors. I wasn't supposed to die on the lower floors. People are gonna skip ahead on this video to like that exact moment. And just be like, wait a minute. He died? Nah, that's what's going on, man. Welcome back to the stream. You just missed it. We died. Had to restart. We're going to try to speed run back up to the floor we were just on. It completely sucks. I was even talking about how I needed to kill it extremely fast before it enraged. And then it literally enraged and killed me. But at least I have proof now that that happens. Dude, I know. Nuts, what you been up to, man? I'm gonna go ahead and use this strength so I can get through these floors a little bit quicker. It's just really unfortunate that that happened. I also find it extremely funny because that's literally the lowest floor I've ever been on and died. Coasting along. Okay, so that set me back on time. So we're not going to get to floor 60-ish. I will attempt to get to floor 50. No Man's Sky and Warframe got some new stuff. I feel like Warframe is continuously getting new stuff. Oh, yeah, and No Man's Sky. I remember that getting an update not too long ago. Oh, my first sight. Okay, let's talk about sight real quick after this. So, Pomander of Sight, because this is the first sight I've gotten since starting the stream, will lay out the traps. So this is a trap. If I step on it, it'll hit me. But it'll also reveal the rest of the map. So you can see where the chests are. You can see where all the rooms are. You can see where the key is for like the exit. Which is really good for like later floors when you're trying to plan out a route to go, because on the later floors you don't want to kill everything. You want to kill the enemies that you have to kill to get off the floor or get the gold chests, because you're already level 60. You don't need to kill everything. It's a race against time at that point. But up until level 60 you want to kill everything to get to level 60. So that's why I'm clearing all the floors, all the enemies on every floor. No, I took a long break. Had a vacation or two in between. Really, it just motivation wise, work picked up, and like I've been, instead of streaming games, I've been mostly just playing them. Just kind of like took a break of like the mentality of having to stream. Played a lot of Guild Wars 2. An impeding trap. Come on, man. Played a lot of Guild Wars 2. Well, I think it started when we started playing. So I don't necessarily like streaming MMOs. I keep getting witchings. So I started playing World of Warcraft with my buddy, and I'm still impeded. And I just kind of didn't stream it. And it kind of just went from there to where I'm just like, I'm enjoying just playing games. And then I went on a couple of vacations from like actual work away from home and stuff like that. And then just hadn't like legitimately like sat down and just fix everything up to stream again. Until now, I died climbing these floors. I was on floor 180 not too long ago, or yesterday, and I was like, I kind of really want to do this on stream, because like I am thinking in my head, right? I would, if I got to floor 200 off stream, I would feel kind of bad, because I would want to capture that moment, all the, you know, the hardships and stuff of me going through this dungeon, and, you know, eventually getting that title that I want. So I want to stream it. I want to capture it. So I said, this is a perfect time for me to like really pick up streaming again. So that's been what's going on. And on top of that, I'm in my chibi model right now because I have misplaced my files for my full Kyo model. So I need to find those. Oh, okay. So this is actually the second time I've run into these hornets. These hornets are like the beginner monster that is scary for newer players to this deep dungeon, because they have a move called Final Sting, and just like the slime that killed me earlier, it is a one shot. Or is it one shot? It's either one shot or it will delete your health by 99%. I want to say it's a one shot. I think it's just going to kill you. And if it doesn't kill you, it takes away 99% of your health. Leave you with literally 1 HP. They one shot you? Okay, that's what I thought. I couldn't remember if it was fully one shot or what. But that's only if you leave them alive long enough. If you're a DPS, you're going to kill them in time. If you're a tank, you just saw me kill it in time, right? What's scary is that if you're in a mob and you get one that you didn't realize you had, and then it kills you because you didn't realize you had it. The easiest solution with these guys, besides just killing it, is to... I think that's a witching. Yeah, that's a witching. Besides killing it, when you see it start casting Final Sting, just run away from it. It has a distance. Just get away from it and it can't kill you. It won't hit you. It'll stop the cast to like walk up to you, and it'll start auto attacking you again. Easiest thing to do. I can understand why they're scary for new players, but I promise they're not that bad. So like right here, I'm not going to pull all those enemies or that hornet because I'm currently attacking all these enemies. And I'm not going to risk having to deal with that hornet. With the sense of I don't want to not kill it in time for it to start its final sting. And if I did notice that, I would just hightail it away from it and just pray that I get away from it in time. Because I would definitely feel sad again if I died on a lower floor. But guys, I promise I made it to floor 180. Yarzons are kind of scary in groups as well. They give you a vulnerability up debuff on you, which alone it's not going to matter, but if you're attacking multiple enemies or a hard-hitting enemy comes up to you and you have an invuln on you because of the Yarzon, that's where it can get a little dicey. Yeah, so again, there's a hornet there. I'm not worried about the hornet, but to play it semi-safe, I am not going to attack that hornet when I'm attacking other monsters. It is completely up to you what you attack. And I am choosing to attack certain enemies solo. And hornets are one of them. So this is a donut room as well. It's just a little bit... Okay, I got a fourth flight here. So I'm going to flight the... did I really want to flight the next step? It is what it is. I already did it. On the lower floors, you don't want to flight because you want to kill the enemies. You want to get the experience for it. Here's another treasure room. So much experience. What do we have on the list of Pomanders that I haven't talked about? So we talked about fortune. So every enemy you kill is a greater chance of the enemy dropping a gold chest, which is nice, right? So if you're running low on like the really good Pomanders, consider popping an affluence, a fortune, to try to get those gold chests to spawn off of enemies that you kill, that you have to kill anyway. I'm gonna go the other way. To get a chance of getting more gold chests that give you the Pomanders. The next one that I currently have that I haven't talked about is a Pomander of Witching, which, if I can give one piece of advice to players just starting out deep dungeons, especially DPSs, is when in doubt, witching. If you feel like you're about to die, whether you hit a luring trap and there's too many enemies around you, or you're taking too much damage from a specific enemy and you're about to die, and you have a witching, right? And after I kill this hornet, I will show you what a witching does. So this is the portal room, the passage room, the exit. Can't talk. Did I open up this chest? Did not. It was an intuition. Ah, there's 2 more hornets. I don't want to do this because I'm going to end up pulling a bunch of enemies before I witching to show you guys what it does. And I don't want to do it with hornets. Because I don't run the risk of them launching Final Sting. So it looks like it'll... Oh, this is the 9th floor. Okay, I'm just going to witch. Just show you on this one enemy. So say this one enemy is doing a lot of damage to me. I'm like, okay, I need to get out of here. I'm going to witching. And what the witching does is it transforms the enemy into one of 3 things. A toad, an imp, or a chicken. And depending on what they transform them into, and it's for 30 seconds, will depend on how much damage they're doing. So a toad will do like is doing 1 HP to me. One damage. So negligible. A chicken will do 50% of its original damage, and then a imp will do 80%. So, but 80% is still better than 100%, right? So when in doubt, just witching. And if you're a DPS and you hit a luring trap, just make it your first instinct to witching. I will tell you later on when we get into when you get a Pomander of Rage, and which is an awesome Pomander, you don't want a Pomander, you don't want to Rage first. I promise you, you're just gonna die because there's still too much incoming damage. Like if they were all toads, it's okay, but they're not all toads. Some of them transform into imps. They're only doing 80% of the damage, and there was enough of them to do a lot of damage to me, and they kill you. Just make it the first instinct you have to just witching. And then figure out what your next step is. Okay, so I'm gonna, again, lust. Just to demonstrate. I believe after this, he's going to do a AoE. Yep. Just right-click the buff, and you're out of it. Can I stun that? I can't. So he applies the wind burn, sustaining wind damage over time. Floor 10 boss, negligible. You don't have to worry about it. And we're done. I explained it the first time we fought that boss, but a lust applies a vulnerability up on whatever you hit with it in an AoE around that stacks up to 5 times. And then it does, I want to say 10% extra damage per hit. So it stacks to 50% more damage, which is huge for damage. So free steel here. Because I was capped on steel, and then I found a chest that has a steel in it. Bronze chest, Phoenix down, like I said. Lower floors most likely have those Phoenix downs. That's another steel. I'll probably grab it right before we get out of this dungeon. Out of this floor. Wow, so many whelks. Look at all these whelks. Okay, so we just picked up an alteration, which we haven't talked about yet. So a Pomander of Alteration does one of two things. Did I look at this chest? Oh yeah, it's a steel. Okay. So when I use an alteration, it affects the next floor up. So we're on floor 11. If I use an alteration, it'll affect the next floor up. So floor 12. And what it does is it either transforms one room full of enemies into pygmies, which are enemies that you can kill in one shot, or they transform into mimics. And you'll see that they're mimics, like it'll have the name mimic above their head. So it's one of two things. And alterations are good because in the later floors, you actually kind of want to kill mimics more than the regular enemies. Or if you're lucky and you get pygmies, then they're just one shot and you can just coast right through them. So sometimes using an alteration is great. Ooh, okay. Okay. So let me kill this toad and then I'll talk about this special enemy over here. So this staff spinning adventurer is a special enemy that it's a very rare spawn. And basically what they are is that they're dead adventurers that have been resurrected. And what it is the storyline for Palace of the Dead. There is a Necromancer that you'll eventually kill because he's a boss that has been experimenting and raising the players, the adventurers that have been coming into this deep dungeon. He's been raising them. So they're very special spawns. To be honest, my last playthrough where I made it to floor 180 didn't see a single one. Super rare spawns. But basically they're just for story. That's all they're for. That's all they're for. Is this? Come with me, Toad. Let's go find the passage room. Don't pull me back like that. You do want to prioritize enemies depending on what they are. I guess I wasn't on floor 12. I think I was on floor 13 when I died last time. Where does Ergonite come from? Okay, got my 1, 2, 3 combo. Free steel going into the next floor. Easy day. Yeah, I'll have to change my description because it was this floor. It was a palace slime that killed me because I got turned into a toad when I attacked it. Oh, you dropped a treasure coffer. Let's if there's somebody rewind my stream and tell me what floor was I on when I died last time. Now I'm second guessing myself. Slimes appeared. I believe cobras are on this floor as well. I want to say it was floor 13. Oh my god, I'm a toad again. This is what killed me last time. Not even a toad cobra combo. I haven't seen a cobra on this floor. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it was floor 14. Okay, another steal. Just re-upping my stuff. Alright, so Pomanders of Intuition. For somebody that's trying to clear and get their title for Necromancer, they're not going for points, they're not going for money or anything like that. You don't even care about Pomanders of Intuition. What they do is you will get to a floor where you'll sense the presence of an accursed horde. And what that is, it'll give you sacks, bronze trim, silver trim, or gold trim sacks that ultimately give you money, give you gold. And I assure you, if you're going for the Necromancer title, it's just a waste of time because you need time, right? So if you're just going for the title, don't even worry about intuitions. Once I feel the presence of a horde, I will show you what it does. On the lower floors, it doesn't necessarily matter because you're coasting through them pretty quickly. Okay, so we're on floor 14. I will pop a alteration to show you what it does. So again, it either turns enemies into pygmies or it turns them into mimics. And if it turns them into pygmies, that's great because that just means we can one-shot each pygmy. And I'll show you theoretically how you want to do that, because you don't want to just run up and hit it because the pygmy doesn't AoE stun when it dies. The easiest thing is just to hit it with a tomahawk if you're playing warrior. Alright. I'll grab this chest, see what's in it. Commander's Sight. And then I will Alteration. If it's mimics, I'll show you how to deal with mimics. Okay, you got another intuition. I will show you what an intuition does. I can now discern the cursed horde. So basically... Oop, cobras. Wants to respect the cobras. You can stun that gaze. Not necessarily needed, just turn away from it. So, I mean, I suppose I was on this floor. What did that just say? Anxiety. Thank you for the 10 raiders. What's going on, raiders? Hello, welcome to the stream. I did not get a sound effect for that. I need to go fix that. And it looked like my little pop-up thing was wrong. Did I see that correctly? Did it like show weird? The only reason I saw it is because I saw something in the corner of my eye and I was like, that looks weird. How was your stream, Anxiety? What'd you do? What game were you playing? What were you streaming? There were no Nanka on the floor I died on. Sounds like you had a long stream. You were playing Genshin, Digging a Hole, Dead by Daylight, and Repo. You did a 12-hour stream? You know what I was doing 12 hours ago? I was at work. No, I wasn't. 12 hours ago, I was on my couch watching TV. Right before work. Ah, subathon hours. Okay, so we alterationed before we came to this floor. So we had a chance to either get pygmies or get mimics. We unfortunately got mimics. Not a huge deal, but they are scary for newer players. They'll cast an infatuation, which is an interruptible cast. If you're playing a class that has infatuation or has an interrupt, just interrupt it. That's all you need to do. They do have the highest health on the floors. They do take a while to kill, but they're straightforward. Just interrupt that ability and dodge the AoE it does, and then you're fine. If I don't have a way to show you, because I don't want to, because I don't have a Pomander to fix it, but if you get hit by Fatuation, it's not just game over. It adds a... I'm gonna get hit by it because I pulled this way too soon. Let's see if I can't kill it before it goes off. Come on. Ah, it still went off. No, it didn't. Okay, it didn't get me. Nice. Okay, cool. What it does, it afflicts you with pox. And then what pox does is it makes it to where you don't self-heal. And that's really annoying. If that happens, you just got to continuously pop these sustaining potions that you currently have. And then you're all good. But Pox is annoying. If you get hit by Pox and there's other mimics around, just keep the Pox on and attack the mimics. So we used a intuition earlier, which this accursed horde comes up. You have to come over to this lighting, stand on it for a second, you get a banded coffer, which then gives you the accursed horde, and it pops up right here. Deadly mimics just have been cast upon the chest to prevent theft, so even if I die, I still have the accursed horde on it. Again, if you're going for the Necromancer title, just skip that. You don't want to waste the time to have to go for it. You don't want to risk going into the middle of a room to try to stand on it, wasting time and wasting the chance of getting hit by a trap. Just trust me. If you're going for the title, don't even worry about it. There are other people that stream deep dungeons that have like a channel redeem for like they redeem it for using an intuition, and basically you just use an intuition whenever they use it. It's just a redeem, standard stuff. We're on floor 16. I believe this is the last floor the cobras spawn on. So I'll probably start pulling big. Yeah, so there's a cobra. I'll start pulling bigger once on floor 17. I don't want to run the risk of accidentally landing on... Okay, safety is nice. I don't want to run the risk of landing on a toad trap with cobras around. Remind me, guys, that whenever I do stop streaming today, to go over on Twitch and raid someone else, because I have not done that in a very long time. I'm so used to streaming just solely on YouTube, and YouTube doesn't have a good raid system. Raids are good. Raids are good. I remember streaming a very, very long time on Twitch, and I got a raid. He was the biggest raid I've ever gotten, and I think it was like, I want to say 200 to 300 people. I was playing Tarkov. Okay, I guess I'm just gonna fight. Yeah, I was playing Tarkov. And he comes in, and I mispronounced his name. It's spelled E-L-I, and I didn't realize that you can spell Eli that way. I thought it was Ellie. And like I said, Ellie, thank you for the raid and everything. Like, it's huge. Like, this is crazy. Or no, he didn't raid me yet. He sent me he followed me on Twitch. So obviously I got the follow alert, and I said, Ellie, thank you for the follow. Welcome into the stream. And he was a big Tarkov streamer. Oh wow, we got another special enemy here. And I watched the VOD back before he like raided me, and he was like looking for somebody smaller to raid, and I called him Ellie, and then he like leans in the mic. He was like, he just called me Ellie. He just called me Ellie. I can't. Do we raid this guy still? And then I was like, is it Ellie or Eli? Because it clicked in my head that it could be also Eli. And he was like, okay, he's redeemed himself. We're gonna raid this guy. And then he raided me for like 200, 300 people. And it was absolutely cool. The community was awesome. Very fresh to Tarkov. They had me join, and they were like dropping me awesome weapons and stuff. Cool experience. Raids are definitely good. And it's also a way to kind of network, to kind of show your community to other people that you enjoy. Because like, you streamed Genshin, Dead by Daylight, Repo. Besides Repo, I probably wouldn't stream any of those. But I mean, you're entrusting your community with my community, you know? I have a certain community because of how much I played like Predecessor and Monster Hunter. And to be honest, I think it'd be really cool to have a community of people that enjoyed Final Fantasy XIV more. I have always had the insight of like, I don't necessarily like streaming MMOs, because besides the certain people who like to watch MMOs, a lot of people don't find them fun to like watch, you know? Okay, so Morbles aren't scary here. They're going to cast Bad Breath. You're just going to move out of the way. You don't want to get Bad Breath on you because that adds a lot of debuffs to you. And if you're in like fighting a group, it can be dangerous. Just move out of the way. You're perfectly fine. Morbles 100 floors later, there's a certain tactic that you'll want to do with them. Still not scary. It's just annoying. That Ochu just respawned. This is a flighted floor, so we don't have to kill that many enemies. Okay, I guess I'll flight the next floor too. I'm actually not... I don't know why I'm flighting these floors. Don't flight the floors, guys. Not until you're level 60. Another flight. It's the only reason I'm fighting these floors is because I keep getting flight. You want more enemies to kill on these lower floors because they give experience. And you need experience. And I keep flighting the floors. And I should not do that. The Bad Breath is stunnable, which is good. What is this? This is a flight, right? I'm hugging the wall because most traps spawn in the middle of the room. Most, right? It's still possible that you get hit by a trap hugging the wall, but it's less likely. And a lot of players will be able to coast through the floors pretty quickly, especially players that have played deep dungeons a lot, because they kind of know how to handle all the traps and what to do if they get hit by a trap. So they'll hug the walls to lessen the likelihood of getting hit by the trap. But if they're still hugging the wall and they get hit by a trap, it's not the end of the world for them. So you'll see a lot of professional deep dungeoners just kind of rushing and just speed running the side of the walls because they're not worried. They already have a less likely chance to get hit by a trap and they know how to handle them. And the scariest trap to get hit by is a luring trap for sure, because you just get automatically 3 enemies on you. But again, if you know what to do and your first instinct is a witching, you're fine. I think it's scary when you get hit by a trap, a landmine, which does 80% of your HP, and it will, and if you're already attacking enemies, you're just most likely just gonna get smacked and die. So you don't see a lot of enemies here because I flighted this floor, which again is not good at the lower levels because I want more enemies to kill so I can level up more. So I believe this boss that we're about to go into next floor is 30, I want to say 36. So right now we're slightly under leveled, which is unfortunate. And that's because I flighted the last 2 floors. No bueno. Okay, so I'm actually just gonna go back because I'm missing a floor over here. All right, Anxiety. Hey, I appreciate for the raid. I appreciate you hanging out and lurking. Much love. Get some rest. I presume because it's subathon, you'll be streaming another 12 hours again tomorrow. So get some rest. Get ready for that. Good luck with it. Enjoy your night, Anxiety. Thank you again for the raid. So came all the way over here just to kill this one seedling. But this one seedling will give me some experience. And I need it going into this next fight. This next this next fight can be a little scary. Oh my god. Zappy and hello, welcome to the stream. Thank you for the follow. What's going on? I need to move those. Yeah, the next fight isn't bad by any means, especially on this floor. It's just, it could get scary. And I shall explain it in a moment once I get there. Oh yeah, I didn't kill anything in this room. I was expecting to go straight for the exit. Oh, I have Inner Beast now. I didn't even realize I had my gauge. I wonder how long I had that for. Some big damage. All right. 420 boss. 420 boss. There is a tactic here. that some of the pros use. I will say it has killed me in the past, and I will not be doing that tactic. I will show you just how to kill this boss outright very easily. This boss will spawn ads. We're going to open up with the Lust and just do 5 hits. And then basically just attack him. He is going to rush back to the top of the map after a raid wipe, after this AoE, and then he's going to summon hornets. He's going to summon bees. If left alive after 3 line AoEs, these bees will then activate. So there's one, right? These bees will then activate Final Sting. And then we all know we don't like Final Sting. And you can't run away from these. They're just going to hit you no matter where you're at in the room. There is a tactic where, and when he summons these ads, that's when you lust, because the lust does damage, and you lust the boss with the bees close enough to the boss, and it does damage. So you end up killing the bees while lusting, and you're kind of killing 2 birds with 1 stone. I will say I messed up. The bees weren't close enough to the boss, and they final stung me. So, in my opinion, attack the boss, lust the boss at the beginning. For this boss in particular, lust the boss at the beginning. Do as much damage as you can. Kill the 1 set of bee ads. Takes 2 seconds. Kill the boss. Just do it. Don't try any fancy strat. Just save yourself some headache and just go ahead and just kill the boss. Alright. Floor 21 to 30. We're going to get the red colored floor. So, we'll talk about enemies as we go and stuff like that. Again, lower level floors, not scared of hardly anything in here. Tortoises will do a move that I can't stun. We'll just do a stomp. It'll do a good amount of damage. Again, if you're fighting one, not too bad. Kind of rule of thumb, the bigger the enemy, the more HP that they have. Just takes longer to kill. I gotta come back this way anyway. No. I'll go this way first, because the exit's right there. Where did he... Oh, it's a patrol. It's a Dullahan. Okay. So I don't think I really talked about the 2 types of enemies. There are static enemies, and then there are patrols. Static enemies spawn in a room, and they won't leave the room. They'll walk and face a certain direction, and they'll stay looking in that direction for about 15 seconds. After 15 seconds, they'll then, slowly walk to another part of the room looking in that direction. Patrols will wander. They'll spawn in and they'll wander from one end of the floor to the other. They'll get to the end. They'll get to a dead end. They'll wait there for about 5 seconds, and they'll turn around and start walking again. So priority-wise, while you're going through a dungeon, you kind of want to kill patrols first. Because you don't want a patrol, while you're attacking another enemy, to randomly walk up on you. So if you see a patrol, just kill it, get it out of your way. So that way you don't have to worry about it. And it's RNG how many patrols spawn, but sometimes it can get crazy. Sometimes you'll have patrols that spawn, like, they'll spawn in and there'll be like 4 or 5 or 6 patrols walking literally next to each other, same direction and everything. And you're like, what do I do about this? You just you gotta work with what you have. On top of having the 2 types of enemies, you have 3 aggro types. And what I mean by that is some enemies are sight-based aggro. So if you get in front of them in a cone, they'll see you and they'll aggro to you, they'll attack you. Some enemies are sound aggro, meaning if you are RP walking, they won't hear you and they won't attack you. You can literally walk right up to them and around them and they won't attack you because they're not sight aggro. They don't see you. They're listening for the sound. So if I sit here and run like this, they'll hear me. If I stay still and a sound aggro enemy is walking, they'll walk right by me. If I RP walk like this, same thing. They won't see me or they won't hear me, so I can walk right by them. The third type of aggroing enemy is a proximity enemy, and these are the most annoying. Sight enemies are nice because you can kind of just walk behind them and get through them. Sound enemies are nice because you can RP walk, get through them. It's a little bit more annoying because it takes longer to get around them because you're sitting here walking. But proximity enemies, you can't RP walk around them and you can't like hide behind them because they'll find you. They'll just their proximity. They'll find you. So in order of like precedence for them, you'll want to kill the proximity enemies, especially on the later floors. You'll want to kill the proximity enemies in order to so that way you can skim around the sight and sound enemies because it saves time. If you're sitting there killing every single enemy on the later floors, you're not going to beat the floor. You'll time out instead. You'll run out of your hour time limit. So I'm a toad, not scared of being a toad, especially since I'm not attacking anything right now. And I'm a toad. Not scared. There's no cobras. They're not going to instantly devour me on this floor set. If I was attacking something and I ran into the toad, especially if it's like a slime, you know, that happened to me an hour ago, I'd be a little worried because I would get out of the toad. The slime would then enrage and just kill me because I left it alive for too long. So you get a lot of experience for every kill in a deep dungeon. So that's just all you want to do until you're level 60. And then you'll be level 60. If you do it this way, you'll definitely be level 60 by floor 50. And then from floor 50 on, you're definitely not killing as many enemies. You're gonna start walking, you're gonna start going behind enemies, you're gonna start whatever the case is, right? You're not gonna focus on killing enemies. You're only gonna focus on clearing through the rooms, clearing how many enemies you need to kill to unlock the passageway, and getting the gold chests. Because ultimately that's your goal from then on after you get level 60. Because what saves runs? Commanders. And after you're high enough Aether Pool level, like if you're 59, I would say that's a good starting point. To actually go for the Necromancer run, or if you want to feel more safe, 69. But the recent changes to Palace of the Dead made it to where after floor 50 you automatically start getting 10 Aether Pool arms per level. And it might not be floor 50, it might be floor 100. I just can't remember off the top of my head. You start getting 10 after every boss, which is huge. And you really only need 99 once you get to like floor 150 and higher. So once you start trying to go for Necromancer, I would start with like 59 or 69 where I'm starting, and just save time. Just don't even go for silver chests or bronze chests as you're running through. No reason. Enemies drop your sustaining potions. You don't need to go for Gilmore and Potsherds, because every enemy you kill drops a sustaining potion. I literally have 1,892. Pomander of Rage. Okay, this is good. I would absolutely love to show you what a Pomander of Rage does. So I'm going to pop a sustaining potion, and I'm going to Rage. Just to show you what it does. One-shots enemies. There's a couple of stipulations here, right? The first stipulation, every floor set has an opportunity to spawn a random debuff. And one of those random debuffs is knockbacks disabled. And if you get a floor that says knockback disabled, your rage will not kill them. Because it's not the smack that kills enemies, it's the knockback. And you can't knock back bosses, so don't even try. You can teleport and go to the next floor with a rage on. Bear that in mind, because in the later floors, that's a great tactic, is you rage at the exit, kill an enemy. Okay, so here's a debuff. You'll rage at an exit, kill the enemies to unlock the exit, and then go into the next floor to kill enemies in the next floor quicker. And you may get, like, depending on how you do it, you may get like 10-20 seconds of rage. No, not 20. Yeah, 10 or 20 seconds of rage on the second floor that you went into, which is great to speed up 2 floors, right? Because you're only going for kills on those floors to get to the next floor. The second stipulation with the enemies is that there are some enemies that will buff themselves, give themselves like stone skin, which adds like health to their basic mana pool or basic health pool. and you do the exact number of damage to an enemy as their base level HP. So if they're buffed with HP and you smack them, you don't do enough damage to actually kill them one shot. So that's just something to kind of keep in mind for if you rage, to know that if they have like stone skin or something like that on, you may have not have one-shotted them. Your second hit will kill them, but your first hit did not. And then I guess technically there's a weird thing with like a server tick that if, you know, you kill an enemy right as the server tick restores its HP, it can get its HP back right then and there. Very, very rare that that happens. Can I stun this? I can. Okay. So again, I'm out, right? So the passageway is open, and on a normal basis, I would absolutely take it and go to the next floor to save time. Because as a tank, I'm not doing a lot of damage to clear these floors quick. And in the later floors, I promise you, time becomes your greatest enemy. So, just if you're sitting pretty on Pomanders, I recommend just killing the enemies you need to kill and just going to the next floor. That's if you're sitting pretty on Pomanders. If you need Pomanders, you gotta search out those chests. These gold chests. Okay, so I picked up a safety. Here's the thing, because we are, this is a blighted room, I can't use items, which includes my Pomanders. There is a Pomander that gets rid of the blight, whatever it is, and that is a Pomander of Serenity. I have a Pomander of Serenity. I only have one. On these lower floors, and for this particular debuff, I don't necessarily care. I can kill these enemies quickly. I don't need items. Not scared at all to not have the items, so I don't need to Serenity to continue climbing this floor. It's just, it doesn't affect me. I'd rather retain my Serenity for a really nasty blight. Which a really nasty blight could be something along the lines of no abilities, no items, and a gloom floor. And a gloom floor is a floor that increases the speed of enemies and the damage enemies do. And on the later floors, gloom is scary. So like if you get a room like that and you just don't feel comfortable having those blights on you, those debuffs, then I would just recommend Serenity. You don't need to do it all the time. You'll kind of understand, like, okay, I feel comfortable to be able to take on this floor without it. And then if something changes throughout the floor and you definitely need to, for example, if you hit a luring trap and you're not allowed to use items, then you have a couple seconds before those enemies just instantly start attacking you. Serenity, Witching. make that your habit, just witching, right? Serenity witching, and that's if you're on a floor that doesn't allow items. And you'll understand. You'll understand. You'll get the hang of like when you should do that. If you just, when in doubt, if you don't feel comfortable handling this floor without your tools, then just by all means, just Serenity it. You'll find Serenities throughout the floors. But again, don't waste them. Challenge yourself to try to get through the floor without using it, because there will be times where you'll end up, if you waste them on floors that you didn't necessarily need, you'll run into a room where you're like, oh, this set of blights suck. Because you can have 3 different blights on you. You can have gloom, and then gloom can be paired with so many different 2 other blights. No items, no abilities. You can have HP, MP down. You can have like so many different ones, right? So you just, I wouldn't say hoard the Pomanders. They're there for you to use. Just know if you can handle something without having to use a Serenity, then just handle it. I think the other exception to that is, okay, so there's 3 patrols here. This kind of sucks. The only other exception to that is if you're running out of time, use your Serenity in order to save time. So like you can't use your rage, you can't use resolutions in the future and stuff like that if you're on an item blighted floor. So use your Serenity to be able to use those rages in order to speed up time. Lower level floors, not worried about time. Higher level floors, you're worried about time. Do what you can to speed up those floor times. If you can make it out of a room in 2 minutes, you saved so much time. I haven't really been talking about the enemies much. Spriggans are a little annoying in the sense of they can attack you without being aggroed to you. If you're within range, a certain amount of range, even in the hallways, they'll like launch bombs at you, like cast an AoE on you. And it's annoying because you're sitting there trying to fight an enemy like in the hallway, and suddenly you get an AoE casted on you. And it's not a huge deal until you run into enemies that stun you, and you're sitting there stunned and then getting hit by their attack, and then also getting hit by the Spriggan's long-ranged attack that you're not even aggroed to. So I would say that's the basic, one of the basic of the things to kind of watch out for Spriggans. Really? 2 strengths? So again, I could be out. We can go into the next floor, but again, we're not worried about... Nice spawn. We're not worried about time on these lower floors. What I'm worried about is getting to level 60. Prisvale got the check-in. Congratulations. So we got an affluence in this chest, so it's basically a free affluence. So I'm going to use it so that way there's more chests in the next room. Okay, so we got another another treasure room. I don't have whatchamacallits. I don't have a rage. If I had a rage, I'd probably go in there with a rage and just smack everything. So these Spriggans will cast haste on them. Not a huge deal. Again, all it does is they're gonna cast haste and they'll attack faster. On these lower levels, I like treasure rooms because it's just more enemies that I can kill and get experience. And this kind of saves the original 2 floors that I flighted on. So now I have kind of made up the experience that I kind of missed out originally. And I guess I'm kind of wrong. I guess Spriggans at this level don't cast those distance. 100 floors later, they definitely will. And I think maybe it's just haste on this level. So they'll just hasten themselves on this level. Because those Spriggans definitely would have attacked me at a distance at this point, and they did not. This tortoise is going to tortoise stomp, and I need to be a way to get around it. Okay, so free Pomander is safety. I don't necessarily need to use it because we're out. But now I can just run across this room and not worry about hitting a single trap. Okay, so I already used an Affluence, so I don't need to use it again. Not caring... Damn it. Not caring about that silver chest, right? Doesn't benefit me any. The only thing that could benefit me is if... it does upgrade my arm and armor, but notice how my arm and armor is yellow. That means I'm sunk down to a specific arm and armor level, and it doesn't matter at this level. Like, I'm not 69. I'm at whatever max is for this floor. Floor 76. And what I've started doing is I've been time checking. Every time I get to floor 6 on whatever floor set I'm on, I look at the time. If I am over 30 minutes left, I'm doing good on time. And I will... I don't need to necessarily rush the floors to kind of get out, right? Don't need to go to the exit so quickly. If I'm under 30 minutes by the time I get to floor 6, then I'll try to speed up a couple floors, whether that be using a rage or trying some tactics. Because 30 minutes is like the halfway point on the time, right? If you make it to floor 6, which is the start of the second half of the floor set, if you're already under 30 minutes, you need to speed up. Is that another treasure room? Okay, I have a free witching here. I'm kind of want to show something. Okay, so I'm going to sustaining potion. This is dangerous. So I just witched, right? So now all these enemies for 30 seconds aren't doing their full damage. So I'm able to just kill these enemies just super quick. Look at that. And it does affect enemies that you haven't aggroed yet too. So I would have grabbed these other two enemies, but the first thing that went into my mind was there's a trap in that room somewhere, and if I hit a landmine, those enemies could have killed me before I witched them. So alteration, I'll use it because if I get pygmies on the next floor, that's going to speed up the next floor. Okay, so there's the trap. So I got damage dealt is reduced and damage taken is increased. If I hit that with all those enemies on me, they potentially could have killed me. Perenna, hello, hello. Welcome to the stream. How are you? Good morning. Look at the model I'm using. How you liking it? Look at the little chibi model. I wonder who made it. By the way, Perenna, how was your trip to Japan? Was I not in this room? I feel like I was in this room. Sendai was so fun. That's awesome to hear. It was funny because I can't remember if we were there at the exact same time, but actually I had to go down south. I drove all the way to Tokyo for work, and we stopped. We drove through Sendai. I think I sent you a message and said that I was in Sendai. I don't think I saw that chest. Alteration? I did. Oh, it was before your trip. Okay. Not by long, though, if I remember right. It's not like we could have said hello to each other, though. I was doing work stuff. Was definitely busy. Mushiatsui dasho ne. And you were in Sendai, which isn't extremely bad. If you go down to Tokyo, it's a lot worse. Like where I'm at, it doesn't get that humid here. But if you go further south to Tokyo, yeah. There's a treasure coffer here. It's a strength. Perfect. Re-up my strength for the next few floors. They both... I mean, Sendai is, a lot closer to Tokyo than where I'm currently at. Is my model frozen? Hello, model. Hold on. My model is frozen. Wonder how long it's been frozen. There we go. All right, these owls, they're the next enemy that I would kind of want to mention. They cast a chirp on you, and you can line of sight the chirp, but all it does is give you a 15-second sleep. The next attack that hits you will wake you up, but this is especially dangerous if you run into an enemy that really hurts, and you get put to sleep, and that enemy, because you're asleep, right? And the enemy can just come up and just hit you with a really big attack, which could potentially one-shot you. You can line of sight it. But, I mean, it's not too dangerous if you're fighting alone. So don't worry too much about it. So like that would have hurt if I stayed sleeping in it, but I knew the sleeping was coming. So I waited until it went off and stepped out of the range of that attack before it happened. By the way, guys, this will be the last set of floors that I do tonight. It'll be dinner time here in a bit. So I'm going to finish up these last few floors. End my stream. I know it was a very short stream. About 2.5 hours-ish. We would have been further along in the floors. I don't know what's for dinner. No idea. I find out when I find out. It's always a surprise every dinner day, every dinner night. But Perina, I've seen you growing on YouTube. I'm proud of you. Getting lots of people enjoying your content. That's awesome. I can definitely smell the food right now. So, okay, we use an alteration. So now we have our first instance of pygmies. Pygmies are one-shottable. But they do an AoE stun. But they give the full amount of experience that the enemies would have given. So getting pygmies, huge in a run. They're so quick to kill them. They count towards the floor kill requirement. So they're just, it's so nice to get them because they make your life so much easier on clearing the floor. Like, I'm gonna alter again and hopefully we get pygmies on the next floor. If we don't, we get treasure, or if we get mimics, that's gonna be sad. Trying to remember. Floor 30 boss. I can't remember the floor 30 boss off the top of my head. Nope. I'll remember as soon as I see it. Just off the top of my head, I can't think of what it is. Ooh, I didn't realize I had my Storm's Eye combo. I should probably start using that. Let Commander Strength, I'll use it. This isn't good. So I actually kind of want to recreate that. So essentially I killed the enemy right as the sleep went off. And the enemy wasn't able to auto attack me to get rid of the sleep. So I basically am just slumped for 15 seconds until I wake up or an enemy attacks me. Which can eat up, 15 seconds of your time. Okay, so we got pygmies again, which is awesome. Makes those 2 kills easy. All right, one more floor and then the boss. And then I'll have to depart for dinner. So I'm actually going to sight here so I can see where I'm going. Okay, so super easy. I'm going to steal. We get a free steal. So I dodged the chirp, which is nice. So another special enemy. So that's interesting. Which is crazy that we've got 3 special enemies. Okay, there's a respawn. Respawns happen like every minute and a half on these lower floors. So this trap is a landmine. Which will do a lot of damage to enemies. And to yourself. This is the... I want to reiterate that your spawn room does not have traps in it. Another steel, so I'll use that. Going into the last room. It'll be 53 fighting the boss. And I'm comfortable. Didn't necessarily need to do that. And I'm comfortable fighting this many enemies on... Okay, I had a random spawn just now. As a tank, kind of just going through killing this many enemies. On this level floor. Not going to do much to me. And we're out. And I'm comfortable because I'm sighted and I can see where the traps are. If I was safetied or sighted, I could pull more enemies because I'm not worried about hitting a trap. Alright. This boss. Who is it? Okay, easy. This boss is going to... I don't have a lust. So... And I'm strength. Okay. All this boss is going to do... All you want to do as a DPS... or as a melee character, is just go around in a circle with this boss. He's going to spawn a puddle, fire, then immediately ice. And this is all you're going to do. And he's going to do fire. And then immediately ice. And then he's going to run to the center of the room and cast a raid-wide ability. You just want to stand underneath him. That's all you want to do. Get away from the center, because then he's just going to start that rotation again. He's going to cast fire. Then immediately ice. He's going to do some damages. Then he'll cast fire. Hit you once. And then he'll cast ice. And then he'll run to the center. That's all he does on this floor. And that's all he does on floor 130. The only difference on floor 130 is that when he rushes to the center and he casts his raid-wide AoE a lot faster than what you see here. But if you know the rotation, you're fine. Fire, ice, and he casts ice almost immediately after he casts fire. So just be prepared to run to the center when that happens. And then as soon as he's done, take him to the edge of the map, because you don't want him to put this AoE in the center, because that's where you have to go. You want to put the AoE on the edge of the map away from the center, so that way when you run to the center, you're not standing in the AoE. And there you go. That's it. Floor 30 boss. And we're out, right? So now we had the option to either exit to the shroud or go back in. And of course, it's time for dinner, so I had to hop off. But that was my floor 1 through 30, playthrough. Tomorrow at the exact same time, we'll do floor 31 and up and see how far we can get in another 2.5 hours. So we'll basically do this, and hopefully this will be the run that I ultimately get Necromancer on. That would be amazing. I do have to go to Twitch. Let's go to Twitch. Oh no, you guys are gonna hear that. And then, well, of course we're gonna raid a Rava. Why don't we raid a Rava? Oh, she's playing V Rising. I actually played this with my buddy Billy. It's really fun. Started not liking it towards the end, but it is what it is. All right, so creator dashboard. Let me copy that. I don't really remember how to do this. Stream manager. Okay. Raid channel. Okay, all these people are playing Final Fantasy, which I would absolutely love to raid these people. And maybe next time I will. But let's look up Araba. Rava VT. Yep, there she is. Doop. All right, guys. Again, much love. Show Rava some love. We go way back in my streaming career, especially for VTubing. She has grown significantly, and I'm proud of her. She's doing an amazing job. Send her much love. And with that, I'll see you guys tomorrow for the next part of our playthrough of Palace of the Dead. And yeah, for my YouTube folks, appreciate you hanging out. Much love. See you guys tomorrow. Bye, guys.